is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody, welcome to the PWCC Weekly Hockey Auction live coverage. Today is Sunday, April the 9th, 2023. My name is Jeremy Lee. As always, I'd like to thank all the subscribers, viewers, podcast listeners. If you are not yet subscribed, if you have not made this podcast on Spotify one of your favorites, please go ahead and take a moment to do so. Let's get on with the show tonight. Let's bring out our co-host, Josh Madigan. There he is. Welcome back after a 1-week hiatus. How have you been, Josh?
I'm fantastic. Spent a day with the family and now excited to talk about some hockey cards here.
Well, happy Easter to you and yours. Happy Easter to everybody out there. As I mentioned, we didn't do this show last week. I was in Vegas at the Mint Collective, which will happen every so often. We'll do it next weekend, but we won't do it the weekend after. We'll both be at the Toronto Expo. So do not expect a show, this show at least 2 weeks from now. But Josh, this is a pretty good auction tonight. I managed to favorite, I think, 54 items this week, more than 2 weeks ago. There's fewer items this week, 299 hockey items. 2 weeks ago, there's 313. 2 weeks ago, I think I only had like 39 items that I starred, and this week 54. What's your general sentiment on the overall quality of this week's auction?
Oh, it's really fun, and I like the variety too. This week, sometimes we've had auctions that have been very heavy vintage or more heavy modern, but I think there's a good mix this week of both.
Yeah, I agree. So all access bidding, everybody, starts in 28 minutes. That'll be 7 p.m. Pacific time. But you don't need to get a bid in before then in order to qualify. As we should know by now, if you've been paying attention and watching this show, all access extended bidding means you can get your bid in at any time. And so keep your eyes on things, everybody. We have Joe Sakic, 19XX, is with us again. Alex, how are you? Anthony George is here. David G. Frank Porco, one of my favorite IG accounts. And I just love what Frank collects. And I am still enjoying the cards I bought from you, Frank, at the Burbank show. Jay-Z in the house. What's going on, Jay-Z? Looking forward to seeing you at the Expo in 2 weeks. It's going to be a very, very good time. Well, Josh, anything you'd like to mention? I got one thing I'll mention. Anything you'd like to mention? Podcasts you want to talk about before we jump in and take a look at some of these items?
Yeah, we have the Gong Show that is posting tomorrow at 3 a.m. Eastern time. So talking a little bit about some current really good NHL seasons that have flown maybe a little bit under the hobby radar, covering a bunch of we're kind of in the milestone season, right? So we had Crosby getting 1,500 points. You have McDavid being the 6th player ever with 150 plus points in a season. So covering a lot of that stuff too. And then we're taking our first kind of look at the very early Series 2 Young Guns and Inserts values.
Very cool. So just to add on to that, if I may, Sidney Crosby, as you just mentioned, becoming the 6th player ever to score 1,500 points.
Well, he's the 15th. Sorry, McDavid's the 6th player ever with 150.
I mixed that up. 15th player ever to score 1,500 points. 15th ever in the NHL history. And that happened on the same day that Connor McDavid became the 6th player ever to score 150 points, the first one in like 25 years. He also has 63 or 64 goals now on the season. If we remember last season, Austin Matthews was the first player in like 25 years to score 60 goals. Connor McDavid is at 64 this year. And earlier today, David Pastrnak had a hat trick to reach his 60th goal of the season. So after no 60-goal seasons for like 25 years or so, I might be off on that. We have two. We had one last year, Austin Matthews, 2 this year, different players, McDavid and Pastrnak. That's pretty awesome. Hey, Josh, I mean, I like an offense-filled season. I like this offensive era that we seem to be coming back into.
I think so too. Another one that I'm kind of hoping for is, last time I checked, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was at 98 or 99 points. If he gets to 100, then we'll have 3 Oilers over 100 points. And I think, because we did the math on our show, I think even like right now between McDavid, Draisaitl, and RNH, as we call them, they're at like 378 points combined on the season.
It's truly amazing. The Nuge, as he's often called, as well as RNH, the Nuge has right now 103 points, tied with Robertson on the Dallas Stars. We have 8 players right now at 100 points or more. McDavid, Draisaitl, Kucherov, Matthew Tkachuk, David Pastrnak, McKinnon, Robertson, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and then you've got Elias Pettersson on Vancouver with 99 points.
99.
So he's likely to get there. And Mitch Marner, Mikko Rantanen, Erik Karlsson, all with 98 points. Also likely to get there. We could have 13 players with 100 points. It wasn't too long ago that no players were scoring 100 points in the season. Yeah, Alex is making some good points right there. Karlsson is super close to 100. Yeah, Karlsson is 2 away. That's a defenseman. Erik Karlsson would be the first defenseman since Brian Leetch to score 100 points. That's huge. That is a major accomplishment. Jake Dahl, good to see you. Jordan Riker in the house. What's going on, Jordan? Good to see you as always. Jeff McMahon is with us. Ronnie Myers is here. Good to see you, Ronnie. David G. Stammer got 60. Okay, so 13 years. Yeah, I thought I was off on that by about half, which I was. So it took 10. It was 10 years between Stamkos and Austin Matthews. Not 25. My bad. I got to take that back. Still really amazing. After 10 years of nobody, we've had 3 players in the last 2 years. Very, very awesome. I just think it's just awesome.
Well, and one last one I would throw in there, Jeremy, is, and this is a guy who is under the radar a lot in our hobby. You have Matthew Tkachuk, who goes 104 last year, and I think he's at 108 or something like that this year, back-to-back 100-point seasons. Man,
yeah,
that's pretty good and doesn't get a lot of attention.
You're right. He's at 108, I think. And listen, Matthew Tkachuk was like my favorite player in the league. He played for my Flames for his whole career until this season when he goes to Florida, and we miss him badly. What we got for him, Huberdeau has not been performing to the same level he was. Matthew Tkachuk just gets better, will likely continue to get better. He's got a bit of that Brad Marchand reputation, as you love him if he's on your team, you hate him if he isn't. And I wonder if that makes its way into the hobby as well. For me, though, I'm not collecting him. He was my favorite player. He's not on my team anymore. I'm not collecting him at this point in time. But if I was, I'd be very happy about it right now, because he's just such a great player.
Well, Troy and I have a theory we're developing too, that, now try this on for size. We think Florida may be the Bermuda Triangle for the hockey hobby. It's any player that goes there disappears from relevance.
Yeah, then and you know what? You're right. You're right. The Florida,
the
being
state
Miami,
of Florida, not just the teams. Both teams are the same.
Well, Stamkos was a hobby darling. He was the guy for a while, but then Kucherov comes around. Hedman had a good start in the hobby too for a defenseman. But you're right. I mean, if Florida is the Bermuda Triangle, what's Arizona?
The dumpster fire? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe. Adam Holgate, what's going on? Good to see you. Well, welcome everybody. And I'll just let everybody know, if you're not aware yet, next Saturday will be the 3-year anniversary show of Sports Cards Live. I'm very excited. I've done I think I'm up to 380 episodes total across all the different shows that I do. Over 250 unique guests have joined my shows over the last 3 years. So I'm planning what's going to be a really fun episode. Lots of guests coming through for kind of short periods of time. Many giveaways, including one that blew my mind that it was being put up by one of the guests. We'll save that for a little bit. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I look forward to that next Saturday. I want to invite everybody to please join in. Come join the live next Saturday. If you can't make it, watch it in syndication afterwards. But there's going to be giveaways. There's going to be lots of giveaways, like probably a dozen or so. So if you like to win stuff, you might want to make sure that you are able to come by. Jordan says Arizona is lovely. Hey, Jordan, let me tell you, if I were to move, Arizona is probably where I would go. I love it there. But the hobby and hockey players is a bit of a different thing. But I would love to be in Arizona. Trust me. Jay-Z says Stamkos is a prime example. His cup RPA is only like 2,000. Imagine if he was a Leaf. Yeah, but Jay-Z, you might remember when he came into the league for the first few years, his RPA was it was really him and Crosby and Ovechkin. And then Tavares came in the next year, and then his joined that group. Now what happened to Tavares is a Leaf. And look, nobody talks about Tavares anymore. He's overshadowed by Matthews and by Marner. And you want to talk about an underrated or undernoticed player, Josh. Nylander on Toronto is having a great year again. Brian Nugent-Hopkins, who we've spoken about, the guy has over 100 points this year. He was a hobby darling in 2011.
Yep.
He's not really loved that much anymore. But McDavid and Draisaitl, two players who are both commanding more hobby dollar than the Nuge. Yet Nuge was a great player, is a great player. He might be having his best season right now. So we're a fickle hobby. We're a fickle hobby. Adam Lee calls out Pavel Bure was also a Panther. He does get love still to this day. Todd McDonald, good evening to you. Looking for I'm got your prize coming to you at the expo. And what is up, Baz? Baseball card curmudgeon joining the show tonight. Okay, Josh, let's bring up the auction. Here we have it. As I mentioned, 54 items that I have favorited tonight, starting off with this top three. I know, Josh, you love all this stuff. Art Ross, the Art Ross 1910 C55 Imperial Tobacco. This is an SGC 1.5. Art Ross does have two cards in this first ever, the inaugural hockey card set. This one looks nice. It's off-centered, obviously. It's a 1.5. $1,775. I got to say, I like seeing a big number like that for such a low grade. And maybe part of it has to do with the fact that PWCC gave it the exceptional eye appeal rating, which is top 15%. But that's a pretty nice card. What I'll do, Josh, is I'll go through these three, and then we'll have a look and bring you in. I'll just do a summary explanation here. The 51 Parkhurst, Terry Sawchuk. We've seen these every week lately that we've been doing the show in much higher grade. This is an authentic. It says evidence of trimming in small font. I do like that SGC puts that on their label. I think it's very transparent, and I like that SGC does put that there. And then a 1957 Parkhurst Henri Richard, the Pocket Rocket in a PSA 3, a very very popular card in any condition. I don't own the middle card, the Sawchuk, anymore. I certainly have an Art Ross and an Henri Richard. Love all three of these cards. Josh, anything come to mind for you on these three cards?
Well, first of all, I can't find a sale on a SGC 1.5, but I did find a sale like on an authentic when in this past September for $3,100. So, it looks like a pretty good price right now, given that basically a card that was not graded, just authenticated, went for looks like 40% higher than the current bid. But this is a card I really like. I love these pre-war, really getting back to the very early stages and in the very beginning. This is pre-NHL, right? Before the league even started. And so just as a person that's interested in the history of the league and a guy, one of the key contributors, I think this is an amazing card. And this is one that in any grade, as long as it's presentable, and I do think that this one presents fairly well, even though it is a little bit off-centered for it being 113 years old now. Not too bad.
Yeah, I agree with those comments. Now that we're looking at it a little bit closer, as Josh says, it is off-centered. It's got a little bit of tilt to it, a little bit of clockwise. This border up here, narrower than down here. It's got this stray ink coming down the border here, some staining up here and over here. obviously the rounded corners, which I like that in an old card. We're not going to look at the back at the moment, guys, but this is a fine copy. It is a 1.5, and there must be a crease or wrinkles because that grade does seem low for what we see here. So there just must be something more to it that I can't really see. Maybe there's some creasing happening right in this area here. There seems to be something going on over there. Maybe something right here. Tough to tell, when you don't hold a card in hand as far as creasing goes. But this is a great copy overall for a 1.5, and something that I would consider if I was in need of this card. Again, I mentioned Art Ross has 2 cards in the set, card number 8 and number 12. I do prefer this one over the card number 8, just from an aesthetics perspective. Next up, again, we have this Terry Sawchuk. It's authentic. I'll let you take a look. It does say evidence of trimming. And then this PSA 3 Henri Richard. Next row, Josh, a PSA 5 64 tops Gordie Howe. This is a tall boy card. It is taller than the standard cards, and therefore it requires this kind of oversized holder. I really wish that PSA would slim that thing out a little bit and not have it so wide. But it is what it is. I do own several cards in these holders, and they don't fit in your regular graded card boxes. But I love the 64 tops Gordie Howe. I don't love the whole set, but I love the Gordie Howe. As I said, I own a copy. I love this card. It's just I love the yellow background, the close-up shot of his face. I mean, this is 64, and he looks like an old man in this picture already. Never mind, he played for another 16 years professional hockey after he was this old with gray hair coming out. We have an authentic altered Bobby Orr rookie that's at $2,200. We're gonna take a closer look at that. And then we also have the 68 O-Pee-Chee. This is the first year of O-Pee-Chee, post-war. This is a PSA 5. One thing I want to point out, and I'm going to open this one up because I'm just noticing it now, that the centering on this is like you can tell it's got some clockwise tilt, bottom border, narrower on the right than on the left, but this card is very well centered overall for the issue. Very tough to find any card in this set well centered. The key cards, especially the Bobby Orr, the Bernie Parent, the Gordie Howe. This card's actually quite nice from what I can see right now, Josh. As far as a 5 goes, again, there must be something that I'm not seeing because the edges and corners look really nice. Centering is very, very good for this card. I don't, unless it's something on the back. And again, because of internet issues, we're not going to go in and look at the back. So if you're interested in this card and you're watching right now, go check out the back yourself. See if you see something that turns you off. And if you don't, this looks like a great option as far as a card that's in EX condition goes. And then I'm going to open up this Gordie Howe here because I just love this card. I just love this card. So centering right to left, it's got this print line coming down here. That's enough to pretty much scare me off the card altogether. I'd rather wait for a copy that doesn't have it. But listen, I mean, if you are looking for a copy of this card, and because the edges and the corners look really nice, so your issues with this card are right to left centering, top to bottom centering, and then this incline coming down right here. I will point out, because some people might be wondering about this little spot on his nose here. I do believe that's on all the copies because I don't think I've seen a copy that doesn't have this kind of this blot on his nose. Now, I don't know if that's a stray ink or if that's, if he had a bruise on his nose. Josh, over to you on these 3 cards, if you would, please.
Well, one comment I would have on the Gordie Howe, the 64 tall boy, is, and I think it's more of just a general comment on any card that's going to be maybe like a PSA 6, 5, 4, 3 or lower, is that you have to assume there's going to be some sort of major flaw on that card. And I think when you're buying, it's really about doing your homework and deciding if whatever that flaw is, if it's something that bothers you or you can live with as a collector, because you're giving up something at a PSA 5 grade, and everybody's different, right? So maybe that print line down the card is, for you, Jeremy, would kind of get you out of contention for this being a card that you want. It may not bother somebody else. And so I think it's really important at these a little bit lower grades to do your homework and do a lot of comparisons of try to find 5 or 6 of the PSA 5s and get a good idea of what are the characteristics that you're going to typically find at that grade level.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I might have been a little harsh on it, but I was speaking for myself, and that's why I say like this might be the perfect card for somebody. I want to have a look, everybody, again at this spot on the nose here, and then this. What's this here? So I just brought up a picture of my copy, and I'm just going to take it off so I can show you. So this is a zoom in on my copy, and you notice that it's got the same spot on the nose, and then he's got this. That's a gash. Like that's a stick or a puck to the head right there. That's what that is. That is not an ink mark on the copy that is for sale on PWCC tonight. But the copy I own is a 6, and it doesn't have that ink line on it. The centering isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. About the same as this card here, I'd say. And I love the card. It's just such a cool card, and it's the only year in hockey where we, in vintage hockey, where we have a true tall boy set. And so there are a lot of collectors that collect this set. It's a popular set. Let's keep on going unless we have any questions on these. I'm not seeing any right now. Go to the next 3. Guy Lafleur. I mean, we're seeing a lot of Guy Lafleur lately, Josh. And this is a PSA 9 O-Pee-Chee. It's in mint condition, $4,800. Guy Lafleur is an all-time great. Like before Wayne Gretzky came into the league, he would have been up on the Mount Rushmore of hockey cards with Gordie Howe, Maurice Richard, and Bobby Orr. It would probably be those 4 players on that Mount Rushmore. And he's been kind of kicked off it because we've got Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky since then. But Guy Lafleur is a great player. This is I mean, we love this card, Josh, don't we? It's 71. It's such a beautiful set. Dave Taylor, Hall of Famer, played with Marcel Dion on the Triple Crown line in LA for many years. This is his rookie card. It's in a PSA 9, $82. That's really low for this card at this time, I believe. I might be missing something here, but I mean, if you have any comps, Josh, that would be great. But I had a feeling that this card could hit $1,000. So either I'm just wrong or there's a steal to be had here. I'm not sure which one it is because these 78s have centering issues all the time. This card looks to be beautifully centered. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'm confusing the Dave Taylor with the Doug Wilson also from this set, or the Bernie Federko, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm thinking of PSA 10. So I could be just way off on that right now, guys.
I think you might be thinking of a 10. So the last sale was on a Dave Taylor 1978 O-Pee-Chee PSA 9 was $171 US back in November.
So I'm way off on my memory. I must be thinking of the 10s then, because the Bossy 9s are, what are they, about 1,500 or something, 1,500 to 2,000, and definitely a more important card than the Dave Taylor. So I guess I just misremembered which grade it was, but so maybe not a steal, but still a good deal at $82 for what is a Hall of Famer rookie card. And then finally in this row, and there are more Gretzky's down here, is the PSA 4.5 O-Pee-Chee Wayne Gretzky rookie. This has the above average eye appeal, so top 30%. It's at $1,150, which is pretty good for a 4.5 at this point. It's, again, with that eye appeal rating, I would expect it to sell for at least what a PSA 5 sells for normally. So, but let's have a closer look at this card, Josh. Let's just look at the key things that I always look for in Gretzky rookies. Going to start the plane. Both the black Edmonton and the red Oilers are on the same plane, so that's encouraging. Tells me the oil drop should be well centered. I love this rough cut across the top. His face does look a little blurry to me, but I'm not sure. Has a fisheye right there on his right shoulder, on the left in our picture. Centering left to right, certainly off center a little bit to the right. And I'm seeing right here, you got this little bit of sliver of white between the blue and the black. So, registration isn't perfect. That might explain why I mentioned that the face looks a little bit blurry to me. Oil drop is placed a little bit high and to the right, but not too bad overall. And very little of that registration issue where you see white in between the blue and these black borders. I really only see a little bit of it just at the bottom of the circle here. Not too bad, though. Not too bad. Definitely seen worse. You see it over here as well on the left. And then you're seeing some corner surface wear over here. It's kind of, there's just some surface wear over there. You have the same thing over here on the right. If we go back up to the top, I did notice a bit of it over here. And I'm going to come down and look at the edges, the left and the right edges. They both look nice to me. I like both of those edges. And I like the bottom corners and the bottom edge. I'm not crazy about the corner surface wear here that comes in, that full sort of triangle there. But again, this is graded a 4.5. I think it's appropriately graded. I have no issue with the eye appeal rating that PWCC gave it. Looks like a nice card overall to me. This will make somebody very happy. Josh, I'm going to kick it over to you to address these cards.
Yeah, the thing I like about that Gretzky is, again, going back to that presentation. You pointed out beautifully some of the flaws in the card, but I don't think that those are flaws that you're going to notice at a distance, right? We were looking in on a very zoomed view. And so I think if you don't have a huge budget and you've wanted a Gretzky rookie here for last sale on a PSA 4.5 was $1,380. So we're kind of right in that range right now. To me, I think this is a really nice PC pickup for somebody to just have that, maybe get into your first foray into Gretzky rookies. This is definitely one I would consider.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if I were to identify a defect or a flaw in this card that, like, the worst one to me, it's probably going to be this fisheye here on the shoulder. And that's what I'm saying is favorable for the card. That's not a major flaw that is going to really bother very many people. If it was situated a little bit higher up, like right over here, I wouldn't mind it as much, but it is right on the shoulder. So my eye is drawn to it, but it's still minor. You pull the card out, you don't notice it as much, but it's there. And fisheyes are just a par for the course when it comes to vintage sports cards. So, if you can get your head around it, then I think it's a great card for you. Rich lets me know that I made another mistake here. Dave Taylor is not yet in the Hall of Fame. Not sure why I thought he was, but thank you for clarifying that, Rich. Much appreciated. All right, let's go to the next three. We have two more Gretzkys and O-Pee-Chee. We have a Topps BVG9 and a PSA 9 O-Pee-Chee Raymond Bourque rookie. Let's take a look at this Gretzky to compare the two, Josh, and we'll do the same. Go through the same process that I like to go through. Oh, that's why. Let's just go out of there and do it this way. Open image in new tab so we don't slow down the internet. So right away, this card is beautiful. Like my first instinct looking at this card, I noticed the centering. It's not perfect, but I love it. The centering is really, really nice. The color pops. Like, this card has great. Josh, are you noticing the color on this one? I'm noticing the color. It's popping to me. Registration wise, you can see the oil drop is situated a little bit to the right. At this angle, I'm seeing really none of those white slivers. Might be a little bit down over here. Let's zoom in on the face and see if it's blurry. Face is a little bit blurry, but not too bad. Edmonton and Oilers are on the same plane. Look how dark the word Edmonton is in black. This corner here is probably what's keeping it back. Well, maybe all the corners. Like, this one's not so bad, but it's certainly not perfect. This one is certainly not perfect. That's got definitely some corner surface, a bit of maybe it's a fold, or not a fold, but a ding, or a little bit of a surface loss there. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it for the grade at all. I love the edges on this copy. Like, I love these edges. So, yeah, the bottom right corner, if these corners are a little bit better, this card's in a higher grade. Notice the blur along his leg here. You can really see it well if you look at the skate. Look at this kind of orangey red layer to the right of his skate, comes all the way up the pants. You see it on this leg as well, comes all the way up like that. In a perfect print, that shouldn't be there. So, and what that is the magenta plate, you see it here, is laid down, and the yellow, I think, as well, are laid down a little bit to the right. So that's why we're seeing this here. And if you come back up to the top of the card, that tells me that the word Oilers is probably a little bit, it's a millimeter to the right, but you don't notice it up here. You notice it more on the blur over here and the oil drop. The black plate went down perfect. So did the blue. This is, I mean, this is like, I am a registration snob. So the blur, I don't know. I love everything else so much about this copy that I might be able to get around this minor-ish registration issue. I really like this copy. I really, really like this copy. Did it get a PWCC? I don't think it got an eye appeal rating for it. We would have seen a little something sticking out of the bottom here. But maybe PSA gave it that extra half grade because it just presents so well compared to the technical assessment that it got because of its flaws. I love this copy. Josh, what about you?
Yeah, I really do too. And one of the things that's interesting about a lot of cases vintage hockey cards, and I think especially the Gretzky rookie, is because we're used to having a little bit of fraying on the edges. When you have those soft corner issues, it doesn't bother you as much as if it was like a perfect edge. I think the corners would bother me more. And now, of course, you've turned me into a registration snob, so that bothers me too. But again, it's another really nice copy of this card. It's not going to break the bank. So last sale was in early February for $2,344 US, and a really good representation of a Gretzky rookie. Yeah, so it looks pretty much right on where it was. Oh, they gave it a superior rating.
They did. So I mean, I saw it before, but I forgot. I didn't even realize when I was looking at it that they did. So I mean, obviously, you could tell by how excited I got by this card. I certainly agree with PWCC's superior eye appeal rating, top 5% of 5.5s. I have no issue with that at all. I think this card is very worthy. Like when I come across a low grade Gretzky that looks great, like it's well centered, the colors pop, registration is very good to excellent. I keep those for myself. Like I recently came across a PSA 2 and I'm keeping it. Like I got it and it's just so nice for the grade. This card, listen, there's a lot of people who are going to say, I don't want a 5.5 no matter what it looks like. I want a 7 or I want an 8. I'll tell you what, this 5.5 is nicer than a lot of 7s that are horribly off-centered. It's not going to be a lot nicer than a lot of 8s, but it's going to be a lot cheaper than most 8s. So I definitely... this card comes with my full recommendation, guys. My full recommendation. And as Josh said, the last 5.5 sold for like 2,400, and that I don't know if that had an eye appeal rating, or I just don't know. I love this card, and I hope somebody here wins it. I think you'll be very happy with it. I know that I would be. We have a Topps, a BVG 9 Topps. One of the things about BVG 9 or BVG Gretzky's versus PSA Gretzky's in high grade is that this is not going to be a sheet cut card. Most likely, like 99%, this will not be a sheet cut card because Topps came out looking this good. So this is a beautiful copy. I like Topps did such a better job printing their Gretzky's that year than O-Pee-Chee ever did. I can't say anything bad about this card. I mean, maybe the centering is off a little bit, but why is this not a 10? I don't know. A 9.5? I don't know. Looks like a great copy, and $22,000. So a PSA 9 does about 35 to 40. This copy, I'm not going to say would cross over to a PSA 9, but I mean, I think it would, but I wouldn't. I'm not advising anyone to buy it on that basis. Please don't do that based on what I just said. But a very, very nice copy. But I love this one here, Josh. I love this. Anything
we talked about the Gretzky for a while on our show because there's a couple of characteristics about this card that really stood out to me. And I was wondering at the time, so this was 4 or 5 days ago now, if this might be a good discount opportunity, given that, okay, because it is a beautiful Gretzky rookie, but it's Topps, it's not O-Pee-Chee, it's Beckett, it's not PSA, and then it's in an older BVG holder. And what's really fascinating about the $22,000 bid right now is the previous sale on a 1979 Topps Gretzky BVG 9 was something like $14,000.
Oh, wow.
So really inexpensive. Now this is a Pop 21. There's 128 of the PSA 9s. So if you're kind of trying to compare a 9 to a 9 from that perspective, but given that it's already at 22,000, that's pretty incredible given where this card has sold in the past.
Well, yeah, maybe this is an opportunity for a discount, even though it's a high price for the card and the BVG holder. But that's just an example of a lot of hobbyists buying the holder, not the card. And a savvy hobbyist might decide that this is a time to get a good discount on a high grade Topps Gretzky rookie. Raymond Bourque, one of the best defensemen of all time, PSA 9 O-Pee-Chee rookie right here. I'm going to open this one up, Josh, because this looks really nice to me. Centering, it's situated a little bit low, I would say. This border here between the bottom corner of the yellow down here where my mouse is looks to be a little bit smaller than the border up here. Slight counterclockwise tilt, very, very slight. But like that 5.5 Gretzky, the colors are popping on this. Look how bright that yellow is on the border, and the green and the pink. Colors popping, even the black on his jersey. Just a beautiful card. I love this card. $1,000 seems like a good deal at the moment. See where things go on that one. All right, let's go to the next row of 3. And on this row, Josh, I have, and when I say a favorite or start, you just click this little star up here and it adds it to your favorites. We have a second-year O-Pee-Chee Gretzky and a BVG 9.5 holder. We have a Mark Messier PSA 9 O-Pee-Chee, which I always like to pair up with the Raymond Bourque. I mean, they're the two best rookies from 80 O-Pee-Chee. And then we have a 1980 Topps second-year Gretzky. So if you don't know, guys, this is the O-Pee-Chee over here. This is the Topps. The only difference, well, one of the only differences is this blacked out scratch and reveal section of the card over the puck that would reveal the player's name. O-Pee-Chee didn't put that on there. Topps did. It's really the only year that there's a difference in the cards between Topps and O-Pee-Chee. The other difference, though, is this card stock itself, but that's kind of a minor difference, if you will. I personally own a copy of this. I don't own a copy of the Topps second-year Gretzky, but I would like to. I think it would be a good card to add to my collection. And then, of course, you have to own a rookie, a Mark Messier rookie. This copy, however, does look to be off-centered left to right. You can also see that it's been reholdered. It's not an original. It's an early graded card that's been reholdered with the new slab. And with that said, hard to know if it would grade the same today. It might be an 8.5 today. I'm not sure. Let's open it up, though, and take a closer look to make sure I'm not misspeaking. And right away, it becomes obvious that it is off-centered to the left, definitely wider on the right than on the left. But everything else about this card looks to be absolutely perfect. Like the edges, the corners, the colors. This card is sharp. This card is sharp outside of that centering. 9 might be appropriate for it. Actually, I would say it is appropriate. If you look at the centering standards for a mint condition card, I believe that this centering, if you were to measure it out, will fit into those standards. So it's probably a fair 9, but I would call it a weak 9. I would prefer, the preference would be for a more centered copy, but because of that, you're probably going to be able to get a discount on this one compared to a stronger 9. Josh, thoughts on these?
Love the Gretzky BVG 9.5. A very healthy bid right now. I think the last sale was like 4,175. So with buyer's premium, this should be just about over 5,000. So very healthy there. I tend to agree with you on the Messier. I get really distracted by cards that are off-centered, especially left to right. And so I think I would be out on that one.
And what any comments, Josh? I mean, you grew up in the United States. I grew up in Canada. We didn't see a lot of these 80 Topps cards back in the day with this scratch off puck part. Do you remember this growing up? Were you collecting Topps or hockey, or was 1980 too long ago for you?
I was a little young. I was born in 77. So not exactly in my wheelhouse. I think they were around when I started collecting, more in the mid 80s from what I remember. And it's amazing to me that any of them are unscratched, because I for sure would have scratched all of them, just knowing my personality.
And that's why I like them. That's why I want to add the Gretzky to my collection, because they're going to be that much rarer to find with that black scratch off substance still on the card. And I also point out that on these black scratch off substances, you're almost always going to see some of this, like these yellow marks coming through. This one actually looks, if memory serves me, which it doesn't always, this actually looks pretty good. I've seen some with much more loss than this one has, even though this does have some marks where the black was, some surface friction must have rubbed some of it off. If I want to get really picky, and as I zoom in, I'm noticing a bit of a registration issue. The green, whatever colors are forming the green, you'll notice a little bit of sliver of white between this thin black border and the green, and then you'll notice it seems to come over below into the orange a little bit too, but like extra picky on that. Still a great card overall. You can't even notice it when you're looking at it at regular distance. $900 for that right now. And PWCC gave it an above average top 30% eye appeal rating, and that might be based on the centering, which looks really good to me. So nice copy. And the reason I'm kind of like hesitating is because I wouldn't mind adding one, and probably not tonight, but that wouldn't be one that I would be offended by. That's for sure. Okay, Josh, before we go into these three, I want to say hello to a few more people. Marco, good evening to you. First, he says, listen to both of you all the time. So thank you, Marco, for that. Says, can't believe I've been wasting my money the past few years on a bum like McDavid. Can't wait to see his stuff at the expo. I'm sure you'll see lots of it there. Nick Martelli, good to see you. Happy Easter. Toilet, welcome back to the show. Thinking about going to expo, but have heard from older collectors it's more like a museum. Well, I mean, I do more business there than anywhere, Toilet. So don't listen to those old dealers. They probably have elastic bands around their cards, and you can't see through their showcases. It's not for show off. You're getting fed really bad information. I don't know what else to say, but you're being fed bad information there. Thank you for that, Rich. 90s hockey collector, welcome to the show. Toilet says all these NBA authentic $1 to $2 cards, aren't the sellers losing money twice? They aren't going to sell for $5. Yeah, probably. I think PWCC. I mean, look, they're going to make a few bucks on it, because you can owe them money if a card sells for under like $3 or $4, whatever that number is. I'm not sure. It's still not worth their time. They'd rather not have those on there. But maybe they just don't have. Maybe they just don't know what some of these are when they take them in, or they just take the cards in, run them, and if they don't sell, they'll send them back to the sellers. I'm not sure, but yeah, doesn't make sense. What's up, Hockey Cards Up? Good to see you. Says he prefers the second-year Gretzky photo over his rookie. I do too. Toilet says first time seeing 2021 the Cup in the weekly. Very cool. Name, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Justin Vick, nice to know you're here. Nick Martelli, yeah, you'd regret missing the expo, no doubt. And Adam says definitely stuff to buy at the expo, no doubt about that. I don't know who's trying to keep you from coming to the expo. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Maybe not ever, but it's up there. And Name says expo is the best. I've never even gone. Nothing else gives me more FOMO semi-annually than the expo. Name, you got to make your way out to one of these soon. Josh, before I get into cards, anything you'd like to say?
Expo is amazing. We went for the first time last fall in November, and our minds were totally blown, especially from the US collector perspective, where our shows here barely have any hockey. And then you go and it's overwhelming, and the amount of vintage and modern and high end, just I think both Troy and I that whole first day just walked around with sort of like shell shocked. We didn't even buy anything. We were just trying to get our bearings. So I would give my highest recommendation. And I'm actually really excited to go back in a few weeks now, having been one time, because I think that I've already sort of developed a plan and a strategy for how I want to add to my PC.
And I mean, listen, to just cover both sides of things here, there are dealers who are going to have their cards overpriced, but you're going to find that at any show in the world. So, don't buy from them. Go to the guys that are more realistic. And I think now we're going to see more realism in terms of pricing than we've seen in the past, because people are starting to realize that their cards aren't worth what they were in 2021 anymore. And most people get that now and realize that it's not like it's just going to bounce back all of a sudden. So you're going to probably get the best pricing in like since before the pandemic in 2 weeks at the expo. All right, Josh, we have a PSA 10 Gem Mint Yari Curry rookie, the old version of Leon Draisaitl as far as being overshadowed or just not being the number one guy, but a great player in his own right. 81 OPGs, very tough and good condition. These cards got played with, thrown around like no other. That was the prime year for that, I would say. From the same year, we have a Paul Coffey rookie, Gem Mint BGS 9.5. Possibly sheet cut, possibly not. I can't tell. And then we have a Kevin Lowe rookie, PSA 10. I mean, the guy's got 5 Stanley Cups, I believe, 4 for sure. And, there's a lot of people that are collecting all the Oilers from that era because they were such a dynasty. So all great cards. All 3 of these are great cards. This is the one that you might just want to, consider. It is in the wrong holder as far as vintage goes. But that said, you might be able to get a great deal. And right now, $410 does look like a steal to me on that card. I would expect his O-Pee-Chee Gem Mint card to be $3,000-$4,000. I could be wrong, but I haven't checked out the pricing lately. But it was probably up to $5,000 during the pandemic. I'm guessing it's at least $3,000 now. The last time we saw a PSA 10, Josh, if you happen to know, prove me wrong as you often do. That's fine.
Well, I do have a comment on the Yari Curry. Right now is a real opportunity, and I just saw the price jump up $75. Jeremy, the last sale was a little over a year ago, last February 21, for $3,550 US. There's 24 sales in Card Ladder's history here, and the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 have been at least 2,500 or more. So somebody's sleeping on this card right now, and boy, it doesn't sell very often. And if you can get it for $2,000 or under, you're getting a heck of a buy.
Yeah, and right now it's sitting at about between 15 and 1,600 with a buyer's premium. I'll also mention that it kind of looks like it's on tilt or off center, but it isn't. The card is just tilted in the holder itself, and you can just kind of see that there's more room up here than over here, and then the converse down at the bottom. Card looks really good to me. A nice row of Oiler rookies right there. Jay-Z says, I had a stunning Paul Coffey, BGS 9 that sold for next to nothing. And I think a BGS 9 is going to sell for a lot less than a PSA 9 there. And another comment here on the Expo. Toilet wants to know, do dealers have prices in both USD and Canadian? No, they don't, Toilet. They're priced in Canadian dollars. The card show is in Canada. So, but, you can just multiply or divide by 1.3 and depending where you're starting, and you'll get to that equivalent. But the Canadian dealers, for the most part, will accept US dollar equivalent. So you don't need to convert your money for the most part. Just going
to eat money. It's probably wiser coming from an American's perspective to go into a currency exchange, because when you're doing a lot of math on the fly, I get nervous doing that. And so that's one of the things we're going to do this year. A quick note too on the O-Pee-Chee Paul Coffey BGS 9.5. Last sale on that was $1,037 US. So again, we're in deal territory right now where the current bid's at.
$500 on that one at the moment. Yeah. Before we move on to the next cards, Nick says most of them will convert their prices. Yes, they will. And then Nick Martelli, how do we feel about the changes to the Beckett grading scale? There have been no changes to the Beckett grading scale. Just so we're clear, they were going to make a change, but now they're not. So there have been no changes to the Beckett grading scale. And there's a lot of other people, content creators out there that are talking about it. So we'll leave it to them at this point in time. And I'm sure, I think, Josh, you guys covered it, talked about it a bit on the Gong Show podcast. So you can obviously listen to Hockey Cards Gong Show and get their thoughts on what was a bit of a debacle. And that is what it is. We'll just leave it at that for now. Continuing with the 1981s, which was a superb rookie class as far as one set goes. Maybe the best rookie class of the 80s. I can't think of any set that's better until 1990 came around, where he had a really good class with the first year of Upper Deck. But in any event, 1981, Gem Mint 10, Andy Moog rookie, Stanley Cups galore with the Edmonton Oilers, Dino Ciccarelli, or as I like to call him, Dino Ciccarelli, PSA 10 Gem Mint, and a Peter Stastny. The Gong Show has a soft spot for Peter Stastny. I know that they do. So I'm just going to put it right over to you, Josh, and tell us what you guys think about these 3 cards, especially the Peter Stastny.
Well, they're all amazing. We did actually talk both about the Dino Ciccarelli being we're Minnesota guys, and it's hard to pass up a North Stars legend there. Both kind of amazing cards from players that were really impactful in the 1980s, especially. And like you said, I personally have a soft spot for the OPG Peter Stastny rookie. I just really appreciate his story and how him and his brother had to really get to the NHL and were one of the first major stars from the Eastern European bloc to defect to Canada to play for the Nordiques. And I'm kind of going through my show notes from, and I want to get this correct, but I think I'm right in this that he's, Stastny is the second highest scoring player in the 80s.
Yeah.
Only to Wayne Gretzky. So, talk about the impact that he had on the game was just incredible. And this is a card I hope to very soon have in my possession.
Yeah, that's a key stat that is often forgotten or overlooked or just unknown. So I'm glad you pointed out again, second highest scoring player of the decade that was the 80s. Now, if you took other players' points per game average and extrapolated across the 80s, like a Mario Lemieux, Peter Stastny wouldn't be there. But the fact of the matter was, throughout the 80s, he was a key player in the NHL and a Hall of Famer. I'm certain about that. He had 2 brothers that played with him. He's had at least 2 either sons and or nephews that have played in the NHL as well. And Paul Stastny is still in the league. He moves around a lot. I don't even know what team he's on right now, but he's still playing. Maybe he's with Vegas, actually, I think.
I think he's in Carolina.
See, he moves around a lot. Yeah. So good. A nice row of cards, 81s, not my favorite design ever, but these cards hold a place in my heart because I was building this set back in the day and just loved it. All right, moving on through the 80s, 1982s. I wanted to bring up the second-year Paul Coffey in the PSA 10. It's a second-year card. They don't get the love that they used to. Here's his first-year card up over here, right there. That's the rookie. This is the second year. It's a PSA 10. It's $110. I don't know the population. I don't know the comps, but my gut tells me that is a great price on that card. And I'm tempted. I'm tempted on that for what is about under $150 at the moment. My guy, Dale Hawerchuk, my favorite player growing up in the 80s was this guy right here. This card, I have a painting of it. I've owned it before in a BGS 9.5. I now own a PSA 10 copy. I bought my BGS 9.5 copy probably back in 2001, way back there. I think I paid $600 for it back then. In any event, this is his rookie card. This card comes with my strongest recommendation based on the player. Now you have to consider, is it a sheet cut card? It is in this Beckett slab, so we just don't know. But I love the card, and this one seems to have really nice color. And then I also wanted to bring up the fourth year Mark Messier in a PSA 10 holder. I find these cards interesting because he's a Hall of Famer. Collectors like to do the whole run of certain players, and Mark Messier is a guy that I'm sure has several collectors doing his run. And you want the 84 in a PSA 10 if you can. It's at $180 plus 36. So what's that, like $215 right now for this card? I don't know the population. I don't know the comps, but it seems like a fairly priced card to me at the moment. Josh, I'm going to keep doing this, Josh. Anything from you? Anything from you on these 3?
Well, if I can nudge you to the Paul Coffey there, Jeremy, last comp on that one was at the end of February for $205 US.
Yeah, so I'll throw in a bid. Right now. And
there you go.
Yeah, let's just I wouldn't mind owning that card for that price. I am outbid. Okay, I'm going to do one more bid and see what happens, and then we'll just wait for the next level. Outbid again. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll go to 140. Confirm this one. Yeah, I'm tempted on that. Thanks, Josh. Oh, highest bidder.
Go.
We got there. We got there. All right. Good.
And then the only other comment I would have is there tilt on the Messier? Is there more space at the top on the left side than there is on the bottom?
It's definitely off-centered left to right. There is there? Yes. Yeah, there is slight, it's tough to tell. Yeah, slight clockwise tilt. There is. And in addition, I would also say that even though it's tilted a little bit this way, it's still situated a little bit to the right, like a hair. I don't know that it's not in PSA 10 territory based on their centering standards for a 10, which are, I think, a little bit looser than a lot of the people would like it to be. But yeah, it's not a perfect card. You know, Gem Mint 10s and PSA holders are not always perfect cards. Some will be. There just will be some that are, but as a rule, they're not perfect cards. They're what PSA determines to be Gem Mint. So Gem Mint is still not perfect. And you may or may not agree with if the standards should be that way, but those are their standards. But yeah, good call out, Josh. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to do that for a moment. I'm going to go to the next screen, and we're going to say Jay-Z says the Dino Ciccarelli is bananas nice. I've never heard bananas nice, Jay-Z, but I'm going to start using that. And I do know that Jay-Z knows his vintage hockey, so we're going to just chalk that up to fact right there for sure. Rich says 2 weeks ago, another coffee BGS 9 sold for $630 on PWCC. It looks awesome with the gold label. CS says the Stasny is beautiful amongst the more underrated superstars. Yeah, we all agree on that. Good evening, Aaron. Great to see you. And Jay-Z says the coffee in the BGS 9.5 is a pop 62. Can someone find out the pop on the card that I'm the leading bidder on, the 1982 Paul Coffey in a PSA 10? That would be great. Just now that I'm the high bidder on, I'd love to know what I'm getting myself into there. I got to check on my phone. I am bidding on a couple of other items that I'm going to keep private for the moment. And they're not favorited, so you won't be able to see them on my screen here. But right now I am outbid, but they're both going into the next window. So I'm going to hold off on those for a moment. But on the screen now, Josh, just jump in when you see that. Oh, when you see that pop, if you want. Yep. Or is Jay-Z telling me that the second-year coffee is a pop 62?
Oh. I do love your style, how you bid first and then do research. That is totally what we do here at the Gong Show too. That's our typical MO.
I do not comps do not dictate what I buy or what I pay or how I bid. Sometimes it's better off not knowing the comp. For me, I say that for myself, and some people might be laughing at me. That's fine. Laugh all you want. It's worked out for me in the past. I don't think I've ever way overpaid. And if I have, without knowing the comps, it's only worked out in the long run anyway. So I'm okay overpaying sometimes to get a card I want. Now that's a pop 62, a little bit higher than I thought it was and again, that is the 1982 guys, right? That's the 1982, not the rookie card 81. So just to be clear. Okay, let's keep on rolling here, though. We have a couple of BGS 10 80s O-Pee-Chee cards. Chris Chelios and Cam Neely. Like, these cards are most likely not pack pulled. They're most likely sheet cut later. So something to consider. But they are gorgeous. Nonetheless, these are both beautiful cards. They are authentic. They came out of the print facility, but they were likely not cut and packed by O-Pee-Chee. That's the only thing you need to know. That said, still very, very nice cards. This one and you can tell subgrades 10, 10, 10, surface 9.5. Same thing on this one. And the reason why the surface is the lower grade, because these were rolled up like a poster would have been, in a poster type of holder or in an elastic. And when you do that, the surface has contact. There's friction there. And that's likely why the surface is not a 10 as well. Could be other reasons, but that's possibly the issue there. And a Mario Lemieux PSA 7 O-Pee-Chee. Yeah, I'm not going to look too closely at it. The centering's definitely not perfect, but it is a 7, $350. Over to you, Josh. Oh, sold. Look at that. So a bunch of these have now sold. All three of these have sold, meaning they did not get a bid in extended bidding. They were bid early and they have now sold.
The Chris Chelios was a heck of a buy. So it had sold this another BGS 10 had sold in the PWCC Weekly on March 5th for $1,650 US. So somebody got it for about half of that. So that's a good buy there. And then the Cam Neely, I really love the card. Is that, and I say this in a beautiful and actually a positive way, but that is the most ridiculous hockey uniform ever, right? I mean, come on.
It's up there.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I'm not knocking it. It's just it's funny.
It's definitely up there for uniforms that are kind of looked at that way, but to me it's beautiful, and I hated the Canucks in this era. They always, my Winnipeg Jets always went up against them, but now when I look back at some of these cards, like, I love this uniform now. It's so 80s. All right, let's see what happened in the next row. A Mario Lemieux Peachy PSA 8 did 660. A Doug Gilmour second year BGS 9.5 does $37. And an Al McInnes BGS 9.5 is still alive at $145. So again, anytime you see these, and it's unfortunate because it's not always going to be the case that every O-Pee-Chee card from the 80s that's slabbed by BGS is going to be non-pack pulled or what is commonly called sheet cut, but it's likely the case. But in any event, I've talked to people that don't care. They just think it's still the card. It was printed when it was printed at the right time at the right factory, so they're okay with it. Here's a BGS 10, pristine copy. It's at 1,075. The 9.5 is at 145. Almost a 10, almost like an 8x kind of multiplier between a BGS 9.5 and a BGS 10. John Van Beesbrook, a BGS 10 and a PSA 10. And look at that. The BGS 10 is outselling the PSA 10. Well, if you know your grading company's standards, you'll know that a PSA 10 is only gem mint, where a BGS 10 is pristine, better than gem mint, supposedly, if that's the actual case. So, but is this card pack pulled or not? I don't know. But $470 still seems cheap for a Beezer BGS 10 rookie and a PSA 10 at $210, pop of 15. That seems like a really good price to me, but I don't know comps. So if I was in the market for this card, I'd bid on it and I wouldn't care about the comps, as I've proven here tonight. Josh, anything to jump in with before we go to the next row?
Yeah, just again, for whatever reason, prices are pretty low tonight. Where just looking at the John Van Beesbrook, and last sale was a while ago. It was May 2021, was $410 on the PWCC Weekly, and I almost hesitate to say this, but one of the things I have been curious about, given all of whatever you feel about what's happened with Beckett over the past week, would this have any impact on how people in auctions, and not just PWCC, but in all throughout the internet and in private sales, how much they're willing to pay for Beckett graded cards? And one of the things that we've been seeing over the last 20 minutes is that right now these are going for half or so what they were a month ago. So, and it could just be an auction, maybe tonight being the Easter Sunday, that might be affecting bidding some. So you have to account for that variable. But I just think that that's something to watch over the next few weeks, and to see what for the record, I'm rooting for Beckett. I have nothing against them. I don't want their values to go down, but it is something worth, I think, looking at over the next few weeks.
Yeah, no, you make two great points there, Josh. I think the Easter might be the more impactful reason than the Beckett announcement and announcement reversal last weekend. I also am cheering for Beckett, and I do work for a competing grading company. Being Tag Grading doesn't matter. I still respect the brand. Even though they made their blunder. Look, I like the people at Beckett. I know a few of them. I don't want to say I know them super well, but I know them well enough to call them friends. And because I consider some of them friends, I don't want to see them going through what they've been going through lately for the last week. All that said, I don't think that's that if that weekend is impacting the prices, I think that people are going to get some good deals, and that eventually that should come back, because they've been grading for a long time. Just because you make an announcement and then reverse it shouldn't have that impact. But I think Easter is the bigger impact tonight on the right. People are having family dinners right now. So
Yes.
All right, let's keep on going here. Adam Oates. I mean, this was a big card back in the day when him and Brett Hull were playing together. Speaking of Brett Hull, there he is right there. I mean, Hull and Oates. This guy was setting up all of Brett Hull's goals when he was scoring 70 goals a season back then. I pulled up this card, Josh, because it's Ronnie Franchise. I'm a big Ron Francis fan. This is, I don't know what, his 6th or 7th year card, but you don't see these PSA 10 Hall of Famer cards coming up a lot. And I love all the green on this card. I really like this card. I'm going to throw a bid in at it, actually, now that you know what? You say you like it, just throw a bid in. Again, don't know the comps, don't know the pop, don't care. Don't even care. I'm just going to go right to 50 on this right now and see what happens. Maybe I'll be the winner at this point, or the leading bidder. What do we got? No, still outbid. All right, I'll let it sit for now. It's pushed to the next window. But Adam Oates was very popular back in the day. This card was hot. Now it's not, like $280 is pretty cheap for it. I believe he's a Hall of Famer. Rich, is he a Hall of Famer? I believe Adam Oates is a Hall of Famer. Brett Hull certainly.
Last comp on the Oates was March 1st for 500. So, again, here's a PSA that's just about half of what its last bid was. So, maybe that is more of the Easter effect than the BGS grading effect.
Yeah, there you
Fairness
go.
and conversation.
Yeah, no, good point. The Brett Hull BGS 9.5 Gem Mint. This to me is a card that you have to have if you're a hardcore hockey fan, if you like rookie cards, Hall of Famers. I certainly own a nice copy of this card and love it. And I mean, I remember I was driving at this point, running around to all the Max Milk stores in where I grew up in Canada, buying boxes of this stuff and putting sets together and selling the sets in my high school. I love that card. All right, let's keep going. I want to go to comments. I'm seeing lots of them coming in. Brendan Shanahan, another key rookie from the 88-89 O-Pee-Chee set. Brian Leach, the 1 year where Topps is the better card than O-Pee-Chee. PSA 10 does $198. The only better card in this set would be the Joe Sakic rookie. And then I pulled out this one, Josh, because it's the 95 refractor with coating Wayne Gretzky. PSA 9, $420. Again, I don't know comps on this, but this is a pretty cool card. And there's a lot of hype in all sports around refractors. Everybody knows Wayne Gretzky's Wayne Gretzky. This is a card that I'm sure people are going for tonight. $420 seems like a good price to me. A PSA 9, PSA 10 for a card like this, who cares? Like, I just want the copy. What's key for me, though, on refractors with coating is that the words don't impede the face. And oftentimes they do. But in this case, it's a perfect view of his whole upper body. The peel was placed perfectly over this copy. Anywhere else, it barely covers him at all. Like, I wouldn't, if this one here was shifted to the left, it would cover the 99 on the sleeve. This is a great copy of this card. Really good copy of this card. There might be a little bit of greening happening. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of greening happening. That's common with all refractors. You can see it. If you guys aren't aware, you see this greening coming down his face here, coming here. That's happening to refractors from the 90s. So the Kobe Bryant rookie has that issue on many of its copies, most of its copies. So be aware of that. But despite that, still a very, very nice card.
Are you a fan of the turtleneck era Gretzky cards?
Not really. I don't think it's a great look.
I'm not either. That's always bugged me.
All right, continuing on. Joe Thornton. This is his rookie card, the basic upper deck card. It's a program of excellence, so it's pre-NHL, but it's still considered his rookie card, $80 in a PSA 10. Sign of the Times, 98 Sign of the Times from SP Authentic Gretzky, $810. Pop one of three graded higher. It's a mint 9 with an auto 10. But what I really like about this card is the color of the autograph. Look at how blue that is. That thing's gorgeous. Gorgeous. When these start getting darker, they're on their way out. This one looks really nice to me. You can see where he put the pen down at the bottom or where he took it off. All these different final points. It's like he pushed down a little bit harder. You see it there, down there. You see it up there. But a gorgeous autograph. I know that people will be after that card. And then and it's sold. And then the Crosby Artifacts rookie, numbered out of 750. completely undervalued rookie card of Sidney Crosby. One of two, I believe, two Crosby rookies that I have in my personal collection is an Artifacts. I love it because it's a low print run out of 750, relatively speaking. And I think I have a PSA 10 copy of this card. I love it. This is a BGS 9.5. Strong copy. This comes with my personal recommendation. Obviously I own a copy, so keep that in mind when I say that, but I recommend this, so I have one. Like that's just the way things work. But
I think we're in record sale territory for that one too. I think the highest sale to this point has been 500. The other thing I really appreciate about this card is it's a design that Upper Deck has gone back to the well almost, in the last few years quite a bit with doing tributes. So I think that helps kind of keep the relevance of a card like this too. There's an acetate of these that we pulled the Matty Beniers in the most recent release of Artifact. So it's a really timeless and classic design. And I know some people probably don't like the fact that they keep reissuing these tributes, but like I said, I think it helps to be more relevant.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. I just hope that they do it once or twice and then they put the thing to bed and start drawing on some others. Once is good for me. The other Crosby rookie I have in my collection is this one here, the SP Authentic Future Watch Auto, sold for $5,000 in a BGS 9.5. The Ovechkin in the PSA 10, still alive at $18,000 plus $3,600. That's $21,600 with the buyer's premium. And then we had this was an interesting Crosby Young Guns. It's in the SGC 100 pristine holder. You don't see that very often. Sold for $28.80. I mean, this to me should be selling at the same rate as a pristine BGS copy. I don't know what those are selling for right now. I think more than that. And if this would cross over, I think someone might be able to access some arbitrage on that one, but it would have to cross over to a BGS 10, which is very, very risky that it would. Keep it on
PSA
going.
10 Crosby is 3,000. So that's even under PSA 10 value right now. The other interesting thing, Jeremy, on the Ovechkin Future Watch Auto is last comp on that was in February for 32,000. So, and it does tend to bounce around from like 25 to low 30s. And, somebody's going to get a deal here. And it might be the fact that they're eliminated now and there's not going to be Ovechkin in the playoffs. So we're not going to see more goals and obviously, no getting close, or he's not going to get closer to Gretzky for the next few months. And so maybe we are entering the buying season a little bit in Ovechkin versus the selling season.
Yeah. Good point. I have him in my fantasy hockey league, and he hasn't been playing the last couple of games. So, also not seeing goals at the moment from him. And then we had two PSA 10 Ovechkin Young Guns, both sold for $4,320. Still healthy values there, I think. Anytime I see him selling for more than Crosby, I think it's healthy, simply because I think that they should be more on the same level personally. That's how I value them, but that's just me. And then we had an Eric Lindros 2012 Fleer Retro PMG Blue in a PSA 6, which is pretty par for the course. Sold for $312. Seems a little bit low to me, but maybe it's that blue color, which isn't red or green, which seem to be the preferences. The PSA 6 doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother most collectors of PMGs from 2012, but I found it interesting, so I favorited it. Now, I'm afraid if I go to here, we're not going to see anything because they'll all have ended, but that would have shown the last. Let's just go and see anyway. Nothing there, I'm sure. Nothing there. So let's now see if I can do a refresh, and maybe that'll just bring up those that are still left and alive from our favorites. None selected. 17 results, none selected. So how do we fix that? Oh, maybe. Yeah.
While you're figuring that out, I do have a quick note on the Lindros. When you talked about the PSA 6 grade, there's actually only 4 that have been graded by PSA, and 2 are PSA 6 and 2 are PSA 7. So that shouldn't, if anyone's looking at one of those 4 in the future, there is no 8 or 9 or 10, of course.
There you go. Yeah, and that's definitely worthy of knowing. Okay, so I've figured this out. Now let me go to my favorites, and we'll bring up those that are remaining, and then we will go I'll just bring this up. We got 10 cards left. Here they are. Let's scroll through them really quick. Art Ross, Terry Sawchuk, Yari Curry, Moog, Van Beesbrook, Adam Oates, Gretzky, Refractor, the Crosby Artifacts has jumped. It was at 480 last time we looked. It's up to 650. The Ovechkin is from 18 or so to 20,000. Oh, and this card. Damn it. Who's bidding? I hope no one out there is bidding. I forgot about this one. I did want to. Okay. We'll just put that away for now and pretend that didn't happen. I did want to place a bid in on that card. I'm glad I just got that bid in. And with that, I got to check the other item that I'm bidding on. Okay, I've been outbid, but it's gone into the next window. So we're going to just bid again and extend this one. I'm going higher than I thought I would on this, but this is an amazing item. And it is now extended to the next window. I'm not the high bidder, though, so let's bid again. Sorry, guys. Just 1 second here. I'll let you know after what this is. I'm now the high bidder. Okay. So we're going to go to comments now, Josh. I'm going to take the screen off, and let's see what we've missed. All right. Where did I leave off here, guys? Oh, yeah. Lapper took a shot at me here saying Jeremy only uses comps when he wants me to pay more for a card, for his cards. Well, Lapper, when I'm selling cards, I need a price tag. When I'm buying, I'm just, I'll buy what I want, right? That's the way it goes. Mitch Grotman in the house. Good to see you, Mitch. Thanks for joining. Toilet says the 2021 SP Blaster box just sold for $64. You can get them for $20 elsewhere. CS says the Dale Howard-Chuck 1982 O-Pee-Chee rookie card is almost impossible to find in PSA 10. Have literally been looking for 3 years. Yeah. Us wow. Howard-Chuck fans, we keep those cards close and tight. I have one of them, CS. Josh?
Beautiful card. Yeah. It's I think, though, when you have those searches that take that long, it just makes it so much sweeter when you finally do acquire that card. So glass half full perspective.
CS says about a thought that you made about 13 minutes ago. Josh, great thought. I do wonder if folks will be offloading their BGS cards and less apt to buy them. The brand is so key in the grading space, and that's why I think it might be saved. The narrative is stronger than what people are actually thinking. The negative comments are louder than the positives, and I've heard a lot of positive comments. Still, there's a lot of people that are cheering for Beckett. If you've been in this hobby for longer than a couple of years, you're cheering for Beckett. Well, not everybody is, but many people are. Jay-Z says, Jeremy, you were killing me with all the commentary on the Gretzky, but it came home anyways. What an amazing copy. Easily better than most sevens. Add it to a copy that will not see the light of day again. Well, congrats, Jay-Z. I'm glad that PSA 5.5 landed with somebody watching. Glad it's you, Jay-Z. I'm sorry that I was talking it up so much, but I genuinely love that card, and I'm super happy for you. You got yourself a stunning copy. Congratulations on that as I check my bidding status. Name says there's a really nice 61 Parkhurst George Armstrong on there too. I'm not bidding on it, just admiring it. I wonder what that sold for. Name, thanks for calling it out. Toilet says that SP Orr on card auto BGS 9 sold for $210. Yeah, that's a low price for a Bobby Orr. Bobby Orr has a lot of autographs out there, but it seems cheap. CS says the Adam Oates is super cheap as well. Rich confirms Oates is in the Hall of Fame. So does Jeff McMahon. I know. I think he went in the same class as like Teemu Selanne or someone. I seem to remember him on a card with those guys at some point. Fact's sake says I crack the Gretzky, peel it and resub. Yeah, I'm not a peel on guy myself. Fact's sakes, but I wouldn't go to that length. I'd just get 2 copies maybe. Lapper says, I thought Gretzky just had some Ultimate Warrior or Legion of Doom face paint coming off. Oh, the green. Nope, that's the color changing on the card. That's all that is. Toilet says, how quick is PWCC to fix listings if you report a mistake? I'm not sure. Probably pretty quick, I would think. What PWCC does is before your listing goes live, they ask you to review it and send them any edits. So it just depends if the consignor does that. Because, if you have a lot of cards, it can be a pain, but they share that responsibility. Rich won the BGS Howard-Chuck and the Shanahan. Congratulations, Rich. Very happy for you. Very happy for you. Great cards. Alex says, Jeremy, you see the Crosby Young Guns high gloss. I did see the Crosby Young Guns high gloss that hit eBay this week. It's already at like $40K, something like that. I know. And by the way, I know that seller. I've been to his house. I've seen his collection. He lives in Ontario. He's an under the radar guy, but I do know him. And yeah, that's a crazy, crazy card. Congratulations, Fax Aches won the Quinn Hughes clear cut. That was on my list to watch, but it disappeared on us. Cards AH says Beckett seems to be fading out a bit and needs to do something to right the ship, but they get outraged no matter what they do. Very true. I think they need to make their own decisions and stick with them. Yeah, I hear you. I think they just need to. You can't take cards that have historically been considered gem mint and now call them something less than gem mint. You piss off your whole clientele. That was the one thing they did wrong. Everything else they did, like there was a mistake on the sign at the mint. That was a mistake, but you can't downgrade. That was the critical mistake that they made, in my opinion. If they can figure out, if they want to change their grading scale, if they can figure out how to do it, they're obviously getting a lot of suggestions now, and we'll see what they decide. It'll be interesting to see. Mitch says, Jeremy, would you rather have this altered Sawchuck or an average PSA 1? That's a great question, Mitch. It's a great question. I don't know. I don't know, Mitch. I don't know. I don't think I want to. Oh, man. I don't know, Mitch.
I don't like altered because
talking about this one right here.
Yep. No, I've been thinking that this whole time. It's that it loses sort of the association for me that you have with the era, right? It means that it's no longer authentic to the era. Obviously, the card is authentic, but I would prefer it to have more imperfections and not be altered.
Yeah, I think I'll go with that too. For me, Josh. Good question, Mitch. Not an easy one. Lapper says, peel that card. Joe Sakic, Alex says, I'm in Ontario too. Can you send me his address for research purposes? No, I cannot do that. Name says, I'm continually watching for a Bork Young Guns high gloss. So he's talking about Rene Bork here, not Raymond Bork. A bigger card from 0506 for me, no doubt, Name. That's got to be a tough one to find for sure. Good luck. Yes, I'm glad you're laughing at that, Alex, for sure. I just put in another bid on the Yager on this card here, and I got outbid again on it. So
those are tough. So I have a question for you, and maybe it's for the chat as well. On the Gretzky Finest Refractor, where it is hulking a little bit, like that's the term that with the green that I'm used to. If you peel it, does that accelerate the greening of the card? And because I'm just wondering if the peel helps to prevent that to some degree. Obviously, it's still happening, but I don't know if anyone knows that. I would love to know the answer.
My understanding is that it's the chemicals inside the refractor coating that were not laid onto the cards evenly across all prints. So sometimes when they laid that coating over it, there was more of a certain chemical than other times. And this is information I got from Gene McLeod from Arena Design, who worked for Skybox and Fleer back in the 90s and now back with Upper Deck. That was the explanation she gave when I had her on Sports Cards Live a couple years ago. So I don't think it matters. I think it's going to happen no matter what. And you would think if you've got like a really sealed film over the card that would keep oxygen out, that would keep it from oxidizing, right? Which you would think might be the cause of it, which is why I don't think that's the cause. So could be the case. All right. I am now the high bidder on one item and not the Yager. I'm in a bidding war with some. Are you watching who I'm bidding against on this Yager? Because I'm going to put in another bid. If you're watching, let me know. Maybe I'll back off. I've been outbid again. One more time. Let's see what happens here. This is my last bid, by the way. There's a tip. Oh, I'm the high bidder now. So maybe it's my last bid. Maybe I don't need to bid anymore. I'm now the high bidder on both items that I want. And let's see if I can get through the next 5-minute period, Josh.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you. All right. Well, let's I'm going to see what is left alive out of these 10 cards. So now we're down to the the only cards left are the Terry Sawchuk that I had favorited. That's what it is, that I had favorited. Terry Sawchuk, John Van Beesbrook, Andy Moog, Sidney Crosby here. The Gretzky sold for $540. We're up to $21,500 now, Josh, on this. So this is up to over $25,000 on the Ovechkin. And then this card here that I am currently the high bidder on, which if I refresh, it'll probably tell us that. Let's see what happens when I refresh. Does it show me as the high bidder? Where'd it go? Oh, I'm outbid now. I'm outbid. And I like how Jay-Z here says, right here, he says, love watching a collector say, this is my last bid. We know that's not your last bid. No, I'm out. I'm out now. I'm actually out on it. Toilet says, always a battle. Well, wait a second. Hold on. Let me look at the card. Let me look at the card. Am I sure I'm out on it? I really want this card.
I feel like essential credentials aren't discussed enough. They're a tiny bit forgotten, but just amazing cards.
Amazing cards. And I picked up a very important one at the Mint Collective last weekend, being this card right here. The original 97 Shaquille O'Neal. It's a PSA 8. I traded for it, which was great because this card's it's a 5-figure card. So it was a good thing I traded for it. But like, you know, I have a thing for credentials. They're my favorite cards ever. I think
really?
They're just, yeah.
Cool.
As far as, you know, listen, like I like some vintage more, but as far as modern and inserts go, 90, like these are my favorite inserts. Yeah. I just love them. I'm outbid on it again. Not again, still out. Yeah, look at you guys encouraging me name. Spend your own money, guys. Spend your own money, not mine. I think I'm out on it for now. For now, I've got 2 minutes to really decide. It's already extended actually into the next window, so I might just be out on it. The other item I'm bidding on, there still needs a bid to get into the next window, so I might be, and I have no idea on population, no idea on comps on this other item I'm bidding on. I'm hoping it doesn't get another bid in the next 2 minutes and 16 seconds, and then it will be mine. It will be mine, and I'll show you guys what it is. CS jumps in and says, wow, the Shack is amazing. Jeremy with Shack and Essential Credentials. True love story. Well, you know me, CS. You know that I love cards. I love some cards, you know. I got to spend the whole day with my son today. My wife took our little girl out on a play date. Me and my boy spent the whole day together, had a lovely day. I say that because, you know, I say I love cards. I love my kids too, guys. I love my kids too. Had a lovely day with my 4-year-old today. He wants me to pretend to be a robot. So I walk around like beep, ball, like that's how he does robot. And then he gets scared. I actually scare him because I'm a scary robot, I guess. Tall, bald robot guy. Tall, bald robot daddy, you know? But it was a lot of fun. Let's see what's going on over here now. Yeah, I'm still outbid on this card. Probably bid the guy up enough. I'm done there. Ovechkin still sitting at 21.5, 750 on this card, which I think is a steal, considering his Young Gun BGS 95 is what, $1,500 or so, I'm guessing right now. This card, there's like a 5% of the print run of this, and I know we don't know, but I'm speculating. 5% would mean what? Even less than that. There's probably what, 25,000 plus Crosby Young Guns in print, and there's only 750 of these. I own this I believe mine's a PSA 10. Let's go take a quick look and just confirm that. I'll show you guys my copy. So, I mean, it seems too cheap to me, but maybe I'm the only one that believes it. And if so, I got a great deal on mine. I certainly got it. Yeah, I have this copy here. It isn't a PSA 10 holder. But I bought this a long time ago. 10 years ago, probably.
I think it just shows the power of the Young Guns brand and how compelling that is in the marketplace.
Yeah, and I wonder how long that'll last. I just wonder, but for a while, I'm sure. Okay, so what's going on here? Sawchuk is sitting at 750, going to go into the next window. This card's about to sell in 3 seconds for $400 or $480. That'll change to $480 pretty quick. It's updating right now. Let's see what happens. $480 sold for $900. Oh, no, it's still going, that one there. What else sold? The Ovechkin is a final sale at $25,800. The Crosby sells at $900 there. And we are down to one item, 2, 3 cards left in the three hockey cards left that I had favorited, likely a few more still. Adam Lee says credentials out of 35. Adam, did you? Oh, it's not sold yet. Did you buy this? Are you the guy that I bid up on it? If so, I'm sorry, but heck, I wanted the card, but I'm not gonna bid $1,000. Now with the next bid, $750 takes it to what's that? $900 USD, over 1,000 for me Canadian. I'm gonna sit it out now. You're not gonna see another bid out of me there, guys, even though you wanted to. But if that's you, Adam Lee, congratulations, $900 if you won it. Toilet says, I won one of my battles tonight for a nice card. Good night and thanks. Well, what'd you win, Toilet? What did you win? You can't do that. You got to tell us what you won.
Can you tell us what your photo is too, Toilet? Every time. Do we want to know the answer to it?
Oh, somebody bid on the other item I wanted. Well, I'm bidding again. I'm not letting this one go so easily. And I'm the high bidder. I wonder if you're probably not watching. It's not a hockey card, so you're probably not watching. But, well, we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. All right, so what's left? What's left? We have 3. No, sold. So everything's sold. It's done. We're down to the 1 minute mark here. So congratulations, Toilet. Love to know what you won. I'm now the high bidder on the item that I want, but, oh, I think I might have won it. Because a minute goes by pretty quick. I'm still the high bid. No, 47 seconds left. 47 seconds. Toilet Brand says Milky Way Galaxy. What is that? What card is that? What sport is that? What player is that?
No, he's talking about his picture. I asked him what his picture, what his photo is on the icon photo, just because the name and the photo kind of, well, you can put 2 and 2 together. So I'm glad to know it's Milky Way Galaxy.
Yeah, no wonder I didn't recognize the card by that name. Well, congrats, Toilet, for winning a card. Love to know what it was. Josh, I don't know. What do you think? You ready to wrap this up? We're out of hockey cards to look at this point. I'm watching the clock on 8 seconds. I might win this item. Let's see if this 5 seconds, unless the guy puts in a bid. Otherwise, I'm going to win this item. Looks like I won it. Looks like I won the item. I won the item. The item. All right. Is it? You guys might think I'm crazy. Let me bring it up on. Let me bring it up here on the. I'll show you on the computer. How do I see where I won? Here we go. 1. I'm just gonna bring the item I won. Chuck Clement says no hockey wins. Did land a nice Tiger card. Congratulations, CS. Good night to you. Aaron says won the John Daly sign of the times. Can't go wrong with some John Daly. Well, congratulations to you on that. And I just need to unclick that, and this should show me the item that I won. It wasn't favorited, so I got to unclick favorites now. And let's see if it shows up now. And then I'll show you. Yeah, here it is. So listen, I'm risking that y'all are going to laugh at me, but this is what I won. And I paid for it.
Pitfall.
Atari 2600 Pitfall by Activision. It's a WATA 9.0 A+ sealed. I have no idea how many are out there. I have no idea what the comp is on this. I do know that I had this as a kid. I played this when I loved this game so much that when I saw it, I saw PWCC put out a story post today with this and Frogger. And I was going to bid on Frogger too, but I forgot and I missed it. I actually would have gone for that too. But this is, I'm very happy to add this to my very new graded video game collection. I only collect Atari 2600 and NES, the original Nintendo. I'm not collecting games from any other systems, but this is one that the nostalgia in this is on par with the Steve Yzerman rookie for me, guys. Like, this is a big nostalgia piece for me. Absolutely love it. I had this game. I studied the manual. I studied the box, like I did boxes of cereal back in the day. So that's what I won today.
Do you know the WADA grading scale? Like, how high is a 9.0?
Josh, I know nothing about this. I just buy it if I like it. I don't
Right.
know. Again, the last comp might have been $150, but it is sealed. The fact that it's
Yeah.
sealed tells me that, the other ones I bought were CIB, complete in box, which I think is cool too. I don't need it to be sealed, but sealed's pretty cool too. That's why I maybe was willing to go as high as I did. Again, no idea on pop, price, nothing. What I do know for sure though is that I love it. That's all I cared about with this item. So I bought it. I bid and bid and bid. I was in a bid war tonight with somebody on this. So that's what I won. Yeah, a couple congrats coming in. Thank you. Thank you. Lapper says Jeremy's going to be jumping on the sealed graded laser disc. No, I won't. I never had laser discs. Never had laser discs. Fact sakes, knows what he's talking about. Pitfall was the best Atari game. There's one other that there's a couple other that I want, but there's one in particular that I really want. Thank you, Jay-Z. Thank you for the congrats, guys. Adam Lee, thank you. Yeah, Adam Holgate played so much Pitfall. Me too. 90s Hockey says, true nostalgia don't need an explanation. Agree. Thank you, CC. Way to treat yourself. Thank you, Name. All right, guys. Josh, I'm going to do final comments for me. Well, you go first.
Great auction. Lots of interesting cards. I think it was definitely a buyer's auction today, whatever the factor was. Lots of deals out there. So congratulations to all the buyers that walked away with some pretty amazing cards. And it's just fun to be back at it and looking at some amazing hockey cards on Sunday night. So, another week. We'll be doing this again next Sunday. Next Saturday, I announced it earlier, guys, is the 3-year anniversary show for Sports Cards Live. First time I ever went live and did an episode was April 16th, 2020. So we're going to do it on April 15th, 2023. Lots of guests coming through, lots of giveaways. You're not going to want to miss it just on the giveaways alone. I don't like to use giveaways to lure people in, but hey, I want to give back. I'm giving back. Some of the guests are going to be putting up some giveaways. A couple of them are, one in particular is mind-blowing. So be sure to check us out. Check out the show next Saturday. Again, I'm going to have a lot of friends coming on the show, past guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. So check that out. Again, next Saturday, we'll go live at the usual time, 10 o'clock Eastern. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram, jlee_sports cards live. You can follow Josh and Troy at hockey_cards_gong show. Listen to their podcast on all platforms, Hockey Cards Gong Show. They will release their Monday morning episode at 3 a.m. later tonight, early tomorrow morning. Is that 3 o'clock Eastern? Yeah, Eastern.
3 a.m. Eastern. Well, I can't wait, Josh. I'm going to stay up and wait for it. I'm kidding. I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Okay, that works too.
Thank you, Name. Appreciate that. Sundays are fun. All right, guys. And listen, if you have any suggestions, recommendations for how we're doing this show, because we're finding that these auctions end really quickly and it's hard to start any earlier than we do because of kids and dinner and all that. But if there's anything that you think, any suggestions, hit me up in my DMs on Instagram. Send me an email, sportscardsliveshow@gmail.com. Hit up Josh. Let him know. Any suggestions, we're open to them. We want to make this fun for you guys. Great viewership tonight. So thanks everybody for joining on an Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to everybody. And with that, we'll see you next week. Josh, thank you so much. Hang tight. Everyone else, we are done. This episode is now